Well, hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Tru-Turf Super Series. A great pleasure to have a man who's plying his trade in the UK in a heat wave at the moment, but Paul Larsen from Royal St George's Golf Club in England joining us. Paul, welcome to the Tru-Turf Super Series.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Good
on you, mate. Thank you. I know you've just come back from a week away up at the Open. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. Going through, as I said, there a bit of a heat wave in the UK at the moment. Certainly conditions tough, and in a links course by the sea with no rain, it must be a challenge maintaining the surfaces at the moment.
Yeah, blooming nightmare. Feels like 2018 all over again when we had the drought, and took us 2 years to get over that one. And this, I've had a bad feeling about this year, and bone dry again already. Getting up to our hottest day possibly ever in Britain. We're meant to be getting up to 40 degrees. So sweltering. I know some courses, I've just had emails come through saying they're only letting people play 9 holes for their safety.
Right.
That's not here. We're actually jam packed on the course today, and
play,
but it is extreme heat. Yeah.
It's something we in Australia always think about the UK as being a cold, dreary place. I know there's windows of opportunity of sunshine over there, but it sounds like you've got Australian summer conditions over there at the moment.
Yeah, well, Sandwich is probably like Australia in certain places. When you go up north, that is probably the stereotype of the cold or with raining scenario. But here we're a different sort of climate down here, and always feels like we're praying for rain down here. And I've been to Australia a couple of times, so I know the conditions you face, what it's like. But it feels like, if you look out here at the moment, it's just brown, completely brown.
Yeah. Well, they do say that sometimes brown is good in relation to not having an overwatered course and sustainability, but you still want to keep the grass alive at the end of the day and have some reasonable playing surfaces.
Yeah, so I used to like brown, and until 2018, that's how I always did it. But what we found with the fescue is it just doesn't like temperatures over 25 degrees, and doesn't like trolleys and buggies going over it, and it's that sort of heat that's more the problem. When it goes brown, it goes dormant, obviously, but when it gets scorched, it just sort of turns to straw some areas. So we have a lot more water than I had before, but it seems like we're doing everything we can. We've learned a lot of lessons from 2018, so I'm hoping to get through this one.
Well, you've been at Royal St George's for a few years now, and obviously seen a couple of Open Championships in that time as well. Tell us a little bit about the course. It's I think #1 course in England. It's certainly in the top 30 regularly in the world. Tell us a little bit about the course for those that don't know much about Royal St George's.
Well, proper links course, but it's kind of unusual from other links courses. We're not a straight up and straight back down sort of scenario. You kind of go out, you go round in circles, you come back, and then you come back towards a clubhouse. So it's kind of, you go out to the sea, hover by the sea, and it never flows in the same direction. So if you're actually playing golf, you never feel like the wind's helping you. It's always from the left and the right. You're like, crikey, is it just going to help me for 5 holes in a row? But it kind of doesn't. We try and keep it as proper, true to its sort of Dunelands status that it is. So we're a triple SI site as well. We're a favourable condition. So everything we do is proper sustainable, not for the golf course, but for the whole Dunelands area. So we manage everything, and then there's a golf course plonked right in the middle of it. And so we do try and do it kind of the way it should be done, but it's very difficult. Like I said, with this heat wave, you're going fescue fairways, fescue greens, fescue tees. It does take a pounding in this heat. Lucky enough, it looks like it's going to start cooling down tomorrow. It's a challenge. I think this is one of the driest areas in the country. So to maintain this course, very difficult. And with climate change, wherever we say it's happening, this is where we're really beginning to learn what we can do to keep a golf course like this going, really.
And it really is the dunes and the links course is a real ecosystem in themselves there. And, it's great that you're managing that whole environment. It's not just about a golf course, it's about everything around it as well to make it sustainable.
Yeah, and I think that was the credit we got from the Open last year, was everyone enjoyed seeing everything. They realised we're on a great ecosystem here, and there's a golf course right in the middle, but we're not looking after the golf course in a different kind of way. It's all part of one. But there's this great golf course with the wildflowers, we've got the orchids, vegetable bloom, all that sort of stuff. But in the middle of it, we've got a great golf course as well. That I think we had an amazing Open last year. Was really proud of how everything went, and we had a great vibe. And I know we had COVID, and it was the COVID Open. We were still in bubbles, and maybe that's why the atmosphere felt so good, because everyone was just coming back out again. It was like we enlightened everything. I just felt, I'm not sure we'll get that vibe again. It was a one-off, I feel.
Yeah, I think so. And there was so many great reports from players that such, I was reading online the other day and then watching something, going back about of how much everybody enjoyed being back at that 149th Open, and obviously the way the course played and presented as well. I think in an interview I saw you do that, you mentioned how much Jordan Spieth reached out and said how much he enjoyed playing on the course and playing that link style golf. And I don't know whether everybody got a bit of a taste for it last year too, because there was certainly a lot of players coming back across from America and around the world to play a few links courses this year before the Open at St Andrews.
Yeah, like I said, so I did go up to St Andrews, so packed with Americans, but you know what? We were packed with Americans here,
right? Yeah,
Sunday, Monday before the Open, so they were coming here to play first before they went up to St Andrews, which years ago that wasn't the case. So
yeah,
I think we put everything back on the map. That in the past people weren't too sure about George's, whether it was quirky or not, but now I think everyone comes in realizes it's a true test of golf. You feel you're at peace with yourself because all the holes are slightly. You feel like you're on your own. So it's a great golf course. You see, you've got the sea, the scenery, the dunes. To me, the view. St Andrews is the home of golf and all the rest of it, but to me, this is more. There's a more beauty here. We haven't got the town which St Andrews has got, which makes it as such. But here it's a different kind of beauty. And I think Americans in particular have fallen in love with the place, and they kind of love it when they come here. And it's really nice for us to see that.
Yeah, that's great.
What we want to do, really. Yeah.
So on that 149th Open, obviously a great feather in your cap, and it's I don't think it's the first Open that you've been in charge of there as well. I think back in 2011 you're involved as well. But what's it like having to prepare with the R&A, working with the R&A to prepare a course for the Open?
It's almost a really long sort of answer for that. In a way, it's quite hard to describe to people what it is because it's so long in advance. You know what? I think I could almost prepare 5 years in advance.
Yeah,
I'd say 4 years. Really, with the bunkers and everything, I probably need 5 years. So 4 years out there looking, and as it gets closer, there's more visits, and one thing we have to do is strike up a partnership and work closely. Now we've worked together for many years now, so I know them. They're all, like good friends. Some of them, it's not like strangers coming here. They know the course, they know the challenges, they know that we know it inside out, and they kind of. What I really liked was they listened to a lot of everything we said, and we did do it together. And in that Open, the one thing that was such a success was how well we all worked together. And when I mean that, me with the R&A, the R&A with us, the support staff that I had were phenomenal, amazing. And they really made it as well. And there was no them and us. It was as if we were all one team. And sometimes that's so hard. And I didn't want it all to be about me and my team. We've done the work. It is our golf course. We've been doing it for years. But we haven't got that ego. We're saying this is all about us. They came in and they helped make it. It was astonishing because the work that you're doing during the week is very hard, and lots of hours and lots of walking. The guys hand cutting the greens were walking 30 miles a day.
Wow!
But you know what? They're all up for it, and we were still in COVID. We were meant to be in bubbles. We weren't allowed to talk to the players and such. So it was such a hard one to manage for the whole team to get on. And you know what? Us with the R&A, everything it couldn't have gone better. Is all I can say. And I look back now and I think, you know what, it's only a year ago and it's gone so quick.
Yeah.
But it was just It was just a great week. We were a bit lucky, I think, now with the weather as well, because it was kind of greener.
Yeah.
It was great to see St Andrews burnt out, but I think you kind of sometimes don't see the amount of greenkeeping that's gone into that. So with us, you could see it a little bit. I mean, we're burnt out now, and we're looking like St Andrews. What we're trying to say is you can't make links courses green and all the rest of it when you're in weather like this. This is how it's meant to be.
Correct.
Really, the Open, when you look back at the history of it, you're playing the weather, whatever the conditions for that year. When you look back, that was the Open. If you're playing in wind and rain and it was a wet summer, that was how it was. You play the conditions of that year. And I think St Andrews sort of summed that up this year, and we did last year, because it was a mixture of weather.
And that's the beauty, I suppose, about links golf, is that you play the conditions, the course is presented the way it is. You're not pumping water all onto it to make it something, you know, rough, certain heights and those sort of things. You play the course to what it is. I think that's a great point.
Without doubt. And it really is. We're all pushing the sustainability and, you know, that sort of issues like that. And I try, in a way, I've been maybe guilty of not pushing it, because I think this is just what we should do. So I hardly ever enter any awards or things like that, but I know no one does it better than what we do here, because I just expect that's how you should do it. This is what we do. I'm not doing it because we might win an environment award or something like that. I'm doing it because we're a triple SI site. The badge on us is we're favourable, and in the past we've never been favourable. So we're achieving a golf course the way it should be with nature. And to be fair with the R&A and everything we're doing, when the golfers turn up, they play that golf course. And you know what? The reason Cam Smith won the Open, because at the end of the day, he played the best, but he putted like a god. It was incredible. So you still got the best winner, no matter how it is.
Yeah, exactly right. And you know, to go 5 birdies straight after the turn there, and then holding that putt on 17, I think really, you know, that was one of the best putts he's ever hit. I think if he looks back at it, to make par there on 17.
It was the one when he hit it short of the road hole. I'm then thinking, oh my Lord, what's he going to do here? You know, and he got the putter out, and you just knew he was going to get it on the green. And to do that was incredible. That part, to set him up for that could have gone wrong.
Absolutely. As an Australian who's watched many of our players go wrong over the years, I was nervous for him, but he pulled it off tremendously.
Yeah,
great job.
Yeah. No, I really like Cam Smith. There was a tweet of me with him last year and 2 others with dodgy haircuts. Are these the worst 4 Barnetts in golf? So I thought I'm going to have to start following this man now.
Yeah, that's right. So what was it like going to the Open? I know you've probably been to many events as a spectator, but you know, you're obviously there as a, you know, you've got your superintendent hats on firmly, but getting the opportunity to, I suppose, look at the course and look at how golf's played rather than having to be on it and working hard. Yeah.
Do you know what? I was actually only there for 2 days in the end, because you spend 2 days traveling, because I drove out. My advice to you is don't travel in this country by road or whatever, because it's just pure chaos.
I have been stuck on that road a few times in the past, so I know what you mean. Train is the way to go, I think, when they're running.
Absolute agony. A lorry had caught fire, so we sat there for 4 hours and didn't do anything.
Goodness.
So, anyway, but no, it was really nice. It was, do you know what? I can't describe it actually. It was kind of surreal a little bit. It felt like someone put on Facebook, like it was a picture of me just taking a picture and you want to be behind the rope sort of thing. And maybe I did, but it was quite nice just sort of seeing it and watching it. Kind of felt, I don't know if it was flat, but it was like, can't believe a year's gone already. And it was just quite nice. You know what? It's actually quite nice just to go and watch the golf and see what the guys are doing. You know what they're going through, but you know, I met them when I was up there, and you almost don't want to disturb them and just let them get on with it and kind of enjoy it. So it was a funny feeling, but I had a great time, so really enjoyed it. The Open for me is, no matter what, is the best major of all of them. It's the one we all look forward to.
No, exactly right. I'm firmly in your camp on that one. The others have great appeal, but I think especially when the Open's at a great traditional link style course, there's nothing like it. And I think the players appreciate it as well.
Yeah, and you know, obviously it was the 150th, and everyone was up for it, and they all
Mm,
wanted McIlroy to win. So fair play to Cam
yeah,
to beat Rory. And to be fair, Rory played really well.
he
So
did.
Cam was just incredible. And
The
you know
difference was
what? With
holding putts. I think that was all. Rory just didn't get it to the bottom of the cup. So
yeah, and that was it. Simple as that. So
mm,
I thought it was great. I was sort of rooting for Cam in the
yeah,
end, and yeah, I thought he was great.
yeah. So what got you into the turf industry? How did you start in turf?
Well, I've always said I could write a book on how I got into this because it's not an easy answer. Again,
Yeah,
everything's complicated.
yeah.
Um, After I did my A levels at school and college, I did amenity horticulture in my sitting gills at Capel Manor up in London, and kind of did that for a couple of years. I was a groundsman up in East London and everything, you know,
Mhm.
hence the West Ham sort
Yep.
of tendencies and everything. But I then left that. There was no money. Sounds like today, doesn't it? There was no money in it. And I got a job as a postman, and I went from earning £100 a week to £500 a week
Yeah.
without having to have any qualifications, pass a test, and in you go. And quite a lot of money. Took redundancy after 5 years, travelled the world, went backpacking, been around Europe, went to
Mhm.
Australia
Yeah.
twice, sort of thing. So I just did every job you can think of. There ain't nothing in Australia as a backpacker, job wise, I haven't done, for working on a fairground, building a roller coaster, picking grapes,
Right.
and kiwi fruit in New Zealand, all sorts of things. So it
Yep.
weren't until I come back in my 30s, I kind of worked for solicitors up in London, kind of wasn't going to go anywhere. So
Mm.
I ended up joining my local course where I'd been playing golf for many years. I've always been a golfer. Um, and the age of 32 or so, I became a greenkeeper,
Mm.
£10,000 a year. Do you know what? That was nothing back then. And yeah, and 20 years later, I'm here. So
Yeah.
who could have foresaw that? It's not a career path. People, do you know what? It's not a career path you could say. People ask me, what would I do to get people into greenkeeping?
Mm.
And most of the time, I say, as a youngster, don't get into greenkeeping. Come into greenkeeper when you're 30 or something, because you've done all the teenage years and gone out and traveled the world or done
Yep.
whatever you've done, and you're not bothered about getting up early, working weekends, working bank holidays, which
Mm.
is it's hard for the youngs to do that. I've got plenty of youngsters here, and they seem to do it. We try and do a rota for weekends, so there's ways around it.
Mm.
But it I'm not sure it should be such a career path that you should say to people, you've got to do this, this, this. I would just say, if you think the time's right, this is an amazing job to do
Mm.
it, but it has to be, the timing has to be right, not your age and what age you should be and all the rest of it. Because once you're in it, I think you stay in it generally.
Yeah. Yeah, no, certainly once you get into it, it is a long-term career, that's for sure. And it's actually
Yeah.
interesting you say that. The previous guest on our show here we had was he's in his late 20s, early 30s, and he's doing an internship now at Cypress Point after having done an apprenticeship. And he was a chef for a while and worked in various jobs, and now he's found a space in the greenkeeping industry. So it's and now he's loving what he's doing and traveling the world, being able to do it as well.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. If you were a youngster, I would say use it as a tool to go around the world and
Mm.
work in all the country. I'd have loved, when I backpacked Australia, I did every job. But I tell you, I would have loved to have been a greenkeeper
Mm.
going to Australia, because I could have gone and worked at so many golf courses,
Yep.
but seen the whole of Australia that way. That would have been amazing. Even
Mm.
America as well. So, do you know what? It gives you so much if you get into it, but you have to enjoy it. But if you do get into it and you enjoy it, it can open so many doors to so many adventures, really.
Mm. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, certainly an interesting journey. And now with Royal St George's, I think you went through, after the last opening preparation, a fairly major project of pretty much killing all the grass at the venue and putting a new surface down. That must have been a major piece of work to do, and obviously needed the support of committees and everything to get that done and support you through that project.
Yeah, we went through all that rescue work where we killed the Yorkshire fog, the rye, and the bent grasses.
Yep.
We're trying to make quite a pure fescue sward. We still have a bit of bent in there, and the power is sort of easing off a little bit. And it's been, yeah, without doubt, a journey. It's not for
Mm,
the faint-hearted. But you know what? I always think you said earlier, St George is #1 in England's 20 or 30 in the world. We're always up there. But if you come here, I always feel we should be giving you the best surfaces we can.
mm,
Um, there's so much to it. It's like St Andrews. There's so much golf there. Can you have pure fescue range? Probably not at all. So you can't do it. But if you can, you'd want to do it, wouldn't you? So
mm,
I want to, I want to make us the best course condition wise. Now, if people don't like the setting, how it flows, that's opinions.
mm,
But for condition, I want you to come here and get the best condition. And I think we proved last year with the Open that we had a great condition, and that's what people were saying. What we're doing was good. I actually think greens are better this year.
mhm,
Um, I'm certainly counting them higher than I was last year. So in the end, for us as greenkeepers, that's what we do. We want to give you the best surfaces possible,
mm,
and I would say horses for courses. I'm going to try and give you fescue because I think I can do it. But I know courses I've played that have got amazing power greens, and you go on them, and they're giving you the best surface that
mm,
they can get for that course. So I never say, oh, you should do it like what we do. But I'm just saying this is how I do it. Do you know what? I don't have to shake the greens down. I don't have to whack the water on. I don't have to put the fertilizer on. Is that the future? Possibly.
mm,
But it's what I can do here. Can you do it? If you can, then fine. But if you can't and you have to do it a different way, you do it a different way. So we're not
mm.
saying anything, but we're just sort of saying this is what I do, but I want to make it the best that I can possibly do.
So how do you do that, from a week in, week out effort of keeping the other grasses out of the course? Because, grass seed comes in so many different ways. And as you say, with a busy golf course and golfers walking with shoes and all those other sort of things, what are you doing to try and keep that fescue throughout the course? Is it an onerous task?
Yeah, thankless tasks.
Mm,
It is very hard, and like in the past, obviously we use graminicides to spray out, um, the rye, the bent grasses, and things like that. And sometimes, if we could, we'd carry on with that. The rescue got banned, which was a shame because that was a great chemical. Um, with the lack of water, you know what, we're always playing around with the irrigation and how much
mm,
water to put on. I had a golden goal of 16 to 20% moisture. Then for the Open, we were like 11% to 15. Then we kind of lowered it even more. This year, I'm thinking 10%
mm.
is quite a good figure to keep them healthy, but without showing fairy rings. I
Yep.
hate the fairy ring. If you dry them out, suddenly you get the fairy ring. That's what
Mm,
we've noticed. Wetting agents, I use a lot of wetting agents now, so that helps. With the speed, this year in particular, I have kept the greens at 5 mil, but I do a lot of rolling.
mhm,
In the past, I would have probably thought, well, rolling would create compaction. Did work with Dr. Nikolai in America, and we've kind of almost proved that the rolling, you can keep the heights higher, so you keep the health of the turf more, but you can still maintain the speeds.
mm,
So I'm a big advocate for rolling, but obviously you're the Tru-Turf and the roller.
mm.
It's the one I've always generally used just because it's lightweight. Um, it doesn't seem as heavy as the others, so it's more gentle on the fescue, but it
Mhm.
really helps. I went no dollar spot. And you know what? I'm getting 10, 10 and a half on the stimp.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the last few days with this heat, I've sort of reverted to cut one day and roll in the next day.
Mm,
Um, it slows the greens down a little bit, just get 9.5 comfortable, but I can get 10.5 by cutting a 5 and
mm,
rolling
mm.
um,
I know you
without
tweeted
pushing.
out the other day, I think it was the European Golf Association event there, that you found your nirvana of height of cut to speed. So obviously it's
Yeah,
working for you.
well, we had that European team
Mm,
championships, and do you know what? I thought I might have to lower height of cut and everything, but I kept at 5 and we rolled. and I was getting 10.5. The players loved it. It was a great thing for me to do that, because it was just a case of, can we do it? Hold your nerve. Are we going to shave them down? And we
Yep.
didn't. So I'm going to get through this summer, keeping them at that height. I've not put much. I've put about 30 kilos, if that, 20 something, or end down this year. So I'm not excessive. I don't. I'm not going to say I don't put any down. We do put. If I can get 30 to 50 in a year, I'm happy enough. But I don't have a target. I just look at them. It's more a visual thing for me.
Yep.
That's what I feel. But to do this, do you know what? In time, if I could get, I said 5 mil, that was my holy grail. But if I could get 6 mil and get 10 on the stem, maybe that's the holy grail. But the more sort of leaf I've got, the better rooting. The roots are coming out the ground this year. You can really see them. So something's working for sure.
Yeah, and as you say, if you can get that leaf a little bit higher, healthier plant, allows you to do more with it, and adds into your sustainability then as well. What you're doing, you're not having to put as much into the ground to get the leaf in the way you want it to be.
That's right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what's the next plans for Royal St George's? Is there anything on the horizon that you've, apart from getting through the heat wave and the water and all those other sort of things you've got to get through at the moment, but is there another major event coming up that you're going to have to prepare for?
So at the moment, it's all quiet. So we've always got competitions during the year for the members, Kent competitions and things. So not really preparing for anything like that as such. At the moment, you're right, it's just getting through the heat wave, try and keep the turf alive, which is all we're going to be thinking about for the next 6 weeks, really.
Yeah.
We have got plans for the course. There's we want to build a new short game area, might dig up a putting green. There's loads of little things that we're looking at, maybe tinker with some of the tees and the greens a little bit. So there could be work going on in the future, but we haven't got a date for an open yet. But I don't think it'll be too many years away. So we kind of want to do all the tinkering or whatever we've got to do before we get announced that we're going to get one. So sort of be quite excited to do the work. We don't work here. I don't work here just because we've got the open. I work here. I'm sort of local. I want to be at this golf course, and it's the course. It's the open, and that is something to aim for. But generally, it's just coming into work every day, and that's why we're into greenkeeping, because that's our job.
Yeah, that's right. And you mentioned before you play the game as well. How often are you able to get out and have a game of golf?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, blimey. The last few weeks I played a comp the other week, and it was the first time I played in 2 weeks, and I think it was 1 over, so I was quite happy with that.
Very
and
nice.
I played at the weekends, and I hadn't played for a week because I've been up to the open, and I was blooming 4 over, and they were easy, 4 stupid shots. So that's quite good. So despite all this, it's stressful with whether we've got enough water and all the rest of it, you still play golf, and it still takes over, and you still get the ump, you drop stupid shots. So I'd love to be able to play twice a week, and that's enough. I don't like playing too much, but twice a week keeps me down to 1 or so, or 2 over the years. Keeps me
that's great. And you play a bit at Royal St George's on the course as well. Does that give you a different perspective to just going out there or finding the feedback from other courses as well on what they're doing?
Yeah, I love, we obviously run that Links Club where we try and get everyone from Britain, and we've had a few from Europe, and we actually had some guys from America over. So I'm hoping to get some Australians over for the next one, and even New Zealand. So it's a close network. We're always in contact. We're talking about everything that we're doing. So for me, I do play on the course now and again, and you definitely got to play to see it. I do believe you have to play golf to appreciate being a greenkeeper. I know there's people out there who say, no, you don't. They look at it different. But first and foremost, I think if you play golf, you understand what the golfer's talking about. And then I think you can relate to them easier. And then I think we can have the same moans. Even if I'm going somewhere as a golfer, I might have the same moans that they have, and then have to tell myself, I shouldn't really be moaning about that. So we could do that. I play at another club. I've got another little course where I play. And I'm Seen Valley Golf Club. It's in Folkestone. and that's kind of like my home as well. But it's completely different here. It's a
Yep.
downlands, but it's got loads of trees on it. It's sort of gone overgrown over the years, but it plays like a links where it's rock cards,
Right. Yeah.
ball bounces for miles. So it's quite nice to get away as well.
No, absolutely. Well, I know you're very busy at the moment, and having a couple of days at the Open, and there's a lot going on at the course there. I really appreciate your time, Paul, and thank you very much for being part of our Super Series. And we wish you all the best for the rest of the drought and the hot weather. And I'm sure the course will be seeing it continue to rise up the rankings around the world. So thanks, Paul. I appreciate your time.
No, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Cheers.